Hey everybody, it's me, Peggy. I'm back again with another video, and today we are making a grocery bag. A basic, made it way back here, a basic grocery bag with box bottoms, nice handles, and we are making this entire project is made with 1/2 yard of fabric. So I'm gonna do the vertigo thing, get the camera turned around, because I've got this exact fabric, another piece of it over here. I'm gonna make my next bag, and we're gonna go do that together. Anyway. So this project is super beginner friendly. Super beginner friendly. Trust me on this. So you're going to start with a 1/2 yard of fabric. Now most fabrics are going to be, this is a 1/2 yard. It's been folded in half already, so that's why it looks relatively small on the table here. Let me see what I got going on here. I want to try and get this camera back a little so you guys can see better. There we go. Welcome to Peggy's Sewing and Fucking with the Camera. So this is an entire piece of fabric. It has not been cut. So it's the whole length, it's the whole width of fabric. Now whenever you do get a fabric, there are selvages at the end. I've already trimmed those off. So this is a 42 inches long by 18 inches wide piece of fabric. This is what we're starting with. This is what we're making our bag with. Now for this particular bag, I actually stumbled across some light canvas. Light canvas, not like the heavy shit you make a tent out of. The light shit. Oh, what do you make with it? I don't even know what you curtains. People like this for curtains. This is actually an old piece from IKEA, believe it or not. Anyway, so this is a slightly heavier fabric, but you can use regular quilting cottons for this or whatever you like. So our first step is to leave the folded half at this end. This is your open half. Okay? So so if I cut this, I'll get 2 pieces of fabric, and I need to make my handles. Now, if you already have some pre-made handles, you're good to go. So I'm going to take off a 3-inch, was it a 3-inch strip? Let me double check. It was a 2.5 inch strip. I'm taking off a 2.5 inch strip. If you like your handles to be a little bit wider, take off a 3-inch strip. And you're just taking this off the top of your bag. Okay, and again, this is a standard grocery bag, so we're not agonizing about this. I love this particular pattern for one reason, and that is because you can do the shittiest job known to mankind, and as long as the seams hold, you've got a shopping bag. Okay, so this is not something that... This is a really, really simple, easy project. Now, I did give this has been sitting. I've had this sitting for like a long time. So I did give it a quick blast with the iron. So all I'm going to do now, if you're concerned, you can get over there on the iron. But I'm just going to finger press it. Fold it in half, finger press it, yada, yada, yada. I'm just doing this right away because the longer you let these narrow pieces sit, the more likely you are to end up with fraying, and that's something I don't want. This is for rolling leather, and if you don't feel like you have a lot of hand strength, or if you just don't want to fuck around, then if you roll a gadget like this over your seam, you'll make it a little bit more obvious. So this is obvious. Like I said, if you're not confident, then just go ahead and iron it. Give it a zap with the iron. You're just going to fold this up to just before. Don't put it exactly on the fold. Give it like that 1/16 of an inch. You can be right up to it, but that way when you fold it over, you won't create a lump. It's hard to describe. You'll see it if you do it, or if you even care about it. Again, these are just one and done grocery bags. I am cutting so many corners because it is just a grocery bag. It is. It's going into the car. I mean, I'm going to make these and then I'm going to throw them in the trunk, and that's where they're all in the back. We have a hatchback. What do you call that area in the back if it's not a trunk? Anyway, I'm just throwing these in the back for grocery shopping. So if I have a little bit of a problem or something that I don't like, I don't have to care, which is what I like about these bags. And again, take your time. So now once you've got that done, so you've got that and that, you're like that now. Fold it over, and again, if you feel like you want more pressure so that things aren't going to shift, just fold it over one more time, and you can take your time. Now you can pin this or not pin this as to hold it all in place, because this is going to be the handle. I am just showing you how I do it because I'm lazy. Wow, because it's kind of a thing. Like, I mean, if I was making these to sell, I would be pinning it. I wouldn't want anything to move. So yeah, if you are concerned, if you want the best possible result, then you're going to want to put clips or pins, and just pin it. Just line up the two outside pieces and then clip it all the way down. I'm not doing it because I'm lazy. Do the same thing with the other one. Do. Hopefully, now I did. This was this being a piece of canvas. This particular fabric came in 60-inch wide measurements, so which is fine. And you can do this to any size that makes sense to you. Like if you just, I'm actually gonna do one that's about half the size, so that when I have just eggs, I like to keep eggs in their own bag. Even if I take that bag and then tuck it into a bigger bag, I like eggs and other really fragile things to be in their own bag. So I trimmed this down to get to the size. I'm going to take the leftover pieces and make at least one smaller bag when I'm done. So this bag is going to finish at, doesn't even give you the measurements yet. So you're starting with a 1/2 yard of fabric. So this bag is going to finish at, if I put my ruler on properly, it is 18 inches wide now, so it's going to finish at about 17 inches wide by, it's 19 inches tall, so it's going to be about 17 inches wide by about 18 inches tall. I'm going to measure everything out. Well, I don't think I'm going to measure anything out. I mean, the thing is that this, you grab a 1/2 yard of fabric. Now, if you're grabbing quilting cotton, it's fine. You will still have a good bag. You will. I realized I had the cotton on hand, so I grabbed it because it's like, okay, I can grab the cotton, and that way I can carry even more stuff because I like to torture myself. But if you use just one layer of quilting cotton, it's still going to hold like 20, 30 pounds of stuff, and that's more than enough. A regular plastic shopping bag only holds like 15 pounds. So, well, quilting cotton is actually it's really strong. It'll hold a lot of weight. You might even be able to put 40, 50 pounds in there. Basically, for any sewn project, your project is only as strong as the seams that you put as the sewing. So there's that. Anyway, yeah, we were going grocery shopping the other day, and it was a bigger mess. You ever do that? You start off with a couple of grocery bags, you get a couple of those crappy bags that you get at the checkout and whatever, and then suddenly no two bags are the same size, no two bags hold the same things. So you're standing there at the freaking checkout, embarrassing yourself. Oh, this has to go in this bag because it doesn't fit in that bag. This bag has this in it, but I need to put this in it, so I need to move. And you're just going, oh, you're so. It sounds silly, but you get so frustrated with trying to mix and match, especially when you're at the grocery store, there's somebody in line behind you, so you don't necessarily get to take your time and parse it out. Anyway, I have got a mix of everything, and I will say I have a couple of pet peeves. Let me just turn the camera because we're going to start sewing in a second. I have a couple of pet peeves. Let me stop and start. Okay, so get your fold like this. Get that. If you haven't pinned it, just take your time. And if you haven't pinned it, you're going to take your time. Is my thing not... We're still trying to sort out the lighting issues. Wrong lamp. No, that's the one I wanted. Okay, so you're just going to fold that in. You do not need to sew the top of this, so you're just going to start here. Make sure that this is aligned. Make sure that these two folds are touching as close as they can. And you're just going to sew down there. You can do, this folds all the way into the center. So you can fold it through, and you can actually do it fairly wide if that's what you're comfortable with. I'm going to do it narrow because you know, I've got lots and lots of practice, so I'm going to do it narrow. Just get it on the machine, get it lined up. I like to start, instead of starting at the very edge and trying to push everything in, because you already want to backstitch this, I like to start in a little bit, not a ton, but in a little bit, and do my backstitch first. And then come forward. It just holds everything better, and it just seems to work. Every machine is finicky in its own special way. So If your machine is finicky and likes to try and eat the corners, I like to start a little bit ahead, do my backstitch, then come forward. A lot of people come forward, backstitch, then continue. It's not a, it's okay, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal how you do it, but if your machine is finicky, it will feel like a big deal if your machine is finicky and tries to suck in the corners. Anyway, no, so basically we got, okay, so you go to the grocery store, and what do they have? They have those really, really light, like, I don't know what they are. They're not even a fiber. They're fiber, but, and they tear and they rip and they just break apart really, 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 once they get torn up, you're screwed and you can't wash them. You throw those weird, I wish I knew what the material was called, because it's almost like some sort of a weird felty type material. Anyway, at least that's what's popular around here. But the minute you try and wash them, they're garbage. You can't use them again. And so that doesn't make a lot of sense, because I mean, I want a bag I can wash. But then you've got the plastic bags. Oh, let's get a plastic bag. You can just wipe them out. It's like, okay, that's fine. But the minute they tear, you can't fix them. You can't fix either one. You can't really fix either one. Okay. My seam here at the edge is kind of meandering because I'm talking. But anyway, it's not hurting anything. Like I said, this is just a generic basic grocery bag. Now you got two choices here. You can sew off the end or just turn it sideways. You don't have to sew the ends closed, but since it saves you from wasting, I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, then you're just going to come up the other side. This side, you don't have to come up this back side. This is already it's folded over on itself. This is just for decorative purposes. If you don't care, then just leave it. And I will say, I don't know if you've noticed, my hands aren't moving. If you let the feed dogs do the work, you will find that when it comes to this sort of stuff, once you get the first side done, you just like use your fingers as posts to hold the fabric down and just let it go. Don't think you're doing something wrong if that works out for you and that's what you're doing. Okay, so I done a little bit of a backstitch, and this one's done. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so we had a whole bunch of plastic bags that were we had a whole bunch of the plasticky, not like plastic bags, those, what are they? God, now I want to go hunt for one. Do I have one handy? Do I have one? Of course I don't. I'm going to get up and, I have one. These bags. Okay, let's go on a segue, because I can. These bags. This one's black. It's blue on the inside. Okay, these bags. It's plastic. It's almost like the plastic that you would use for a tarp, only it's lighter. It's lighter. So they take a piece of that and a piece of that. They put it together. They make it look pretty. They put a piece of piping in. Problem is that this is made of plastic. So if it starts to rip out, you can't just sew it shut again. There are ways to fix it, but it's a pain in the ass for a bag that really isn't worth that much to begin with. So, yeah, we went to see Cirque du Soleil. Anyway, so these hold up for a while, but then once they're done, they're just done. Whereas this, and I've got a couple of bags, I've got a few bags still. The bags that I made, I got a few bags that I've made over the last few years, right? Because all the grocery, I don't know about where you are, but where we are, they're switching over, no more single-use plastics. You go into the grocery store, you can't buy a plastic bag. The regular, stereotypical grocery bags, you can't buy them anymore here. So you either have to buy bags that look like that they only last for a few months before they start tearing out. Or you have to buy these weird ones that look almost like I don't know, they look like felt. Anyway, they start tearing out. Neither of them can be put through the washing machine. So you go out, you got something going on, and you buy yourself, maybe this is a day that you're stocking up on meat, or maybe something happens and a dozen eggs break in the bag. Maybe you leave your car maybe you leave a bag in the car, and not realizing that your ice cream just melted all over everything. And anyway, I don't know why I need to give so many examples, because I probably have nothing better to do today. But anyway, thing is that you can't wash them. You cannot take the bags that we can currently get, you cannot stuff them in a washing machine, and you also can't repair them. So with that in mind, I've been making bags, and then what's been happening is like when somebody will come over, like John comes over and blah 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 blah. We send them home with leftovers and we put them in a bag. Send them home with the leftovers. Now we don't have a bag anymore. So we're losing our stuff. Our, you know, kids and friends and relatives steal stuff. Yeah, they don't steal it on purpose. Anyway. So yeah, like, you know, some of these bags over time have migrated to other people's houses. I never did make a huge pile to begin with, because when I started making bags, you could still buy a regular plastic bag. So there was that. Oh, I didn't need to turn that last one. Oh well, did anyway. Okay. Now, this is... So the handles, we throw them aside and pretend that we're being careful with our shit. And off they go into the corner. This one here, I'm going to back this up a little bit. Oh, wow, that was crappy. Did you see that, you guys? That wasn't an earthquake. That was me being lazy. Okay. This is really simple. You don't have to measure anything. You're going to turn this inside. You're going to turn this backwards so that the pretty sides are together. Now, this is just a knock it out and don't worry too much about it bag, because it's still going to be... Okay, I'll babble as I go. Anyway, so you're going to line this up. The bottom is down here. You're going to sew from top. You're going to sew from the top to the bottom, because you just want it to be in half. It'll end... If you start at the bottom and push it and do this way, if something wasn't lined up, and if something wasn't lined up properly, then they're going to be off center from each other. So you're going to want a seam here. I always say 1/4 inch seam. This time you want 3/8 to a 1/2 inch. You want a fairly wide seam. Not super wide, but you want a wide seam. And you're just going to sew these two pieces together. Now, I did not pin, because I'm just going to stop every now and again and just double check and make sure that they're lined up, because it's just a grocery bag. It's just a grocery bag, and I'm not trying to sell it. So with those two parameters in mind, if it ends up being less than perfect, I'm not going to care. Have you seen the crap? I just complained about the crap that they sell for reusable bags at the stores as it is. So yeah, it's not a big deal. Anyway, so where was I in my bitching? I'm bitching and sewing. There's a term for that. It's called stitch and bitch. Stitch and bitch, not stitching bitch. Anyway. I'm just sewing down once here. Now, why did that not do that? Every now and again, my machine decides that it fucking hates me. Machines can be picky. Don't worry about it. It just didn't want to backstitch for some reason. I guess I didn't push the button. I let go of the button. I don't know what I did. Anyway, okay. That doesn't matter. This corner's coming out in a bit anyway. So I probably didn't even need to care. So now we're like this. This is going to fray. This is going to eventually start fraying like nobody's business. And the way you protect your stuff from fraying, if you're doing a project like this where you don't care because you don't have to care, then you just put a zigzag stitch in. A zigzag stitch will catch everything. A zigzag stitch is going to catch all this, and it doesn't have to be a super intense zigzag stitch. All you're doing here is you're reinforcing this a little bit. All you're doing here is coming back. This is why you wanted it to be a little bit narrower. So you're going to do this one at about a quarter. You're going to center this at about the 1/4 inch, because it's going to go on either side. Let's see if I can get in a little bit closer, and you'll see. I know some of you guys haven't done zigzag stitches, so center the foot at the 1/4 inch line, and then you do want a back stitch here, but this one does an automatic tacking stitch so that I don't have to. But you do want to, so do a couple stitches, back up a couple stitches, and then just come down, because these zigzags are going to help hold it to minimize the fraying off the edge. That's all this is. Well, okay, it's helping to reinforce what's there, but it will also help minimize fraying. Zigzag stitches are amazing for minimizing fraying. You can, if you're confident and really want to, you can let the inside stitch come just off the edge. Like, you can get right up to this edge if that's where you want to be. The closer to the edge you get, the less fraying you'll get. I don't mind a little bit of fraying because I'll just snip that out. I'm probably going to wash these. And then once you get to the end, you're going to want to back up a little bit. Not that it matters, this is getting cut up. So if you forget to backstitch, don't worry about it. And then you're just going to put the camera back so you guys can still see. Put the camera back Flip it around again. And again, we are not concerned. We're not concerned with this. From here to here, if this one ends up being a little short, we're not concerned because it's just a grocery bag. Keep in mind, if you are planning on using this for something a little bit more schmancy, like say you want to grab this bag and just wander around the mall with it for 6 hours and you want it to look cute and nice, then yes, you're going to want to make sure things are lined up properly. But I line up this and then I just trust the rest. This is my trust exercise. Oh, I still have it on that. I shouldn't have put it on that. Okay, cut that. Quite often, what I'll do is I'll do my stuff and then I will come back and do the zigzags after because, yeah, I just forgot to put this, to put the thread, to put the, I just forgot to put the stitch back on a straight stitch. But it's not the end of the world because it's just a shopping bag. Okay. And again, I just come back, double check this, make sure it's lined up. If you don't trust yourself, pin it. This is a really good way to practice on all the, well, not all the techniques. This is a really good way to practice in a 100% non-intimidating way. If you fuck it up, just go back and sew that section again. Because it's just a grocery bag. It is not a shopping bag. It is not a go to the mall and this is literally for hauling your groceries from the store to your house. So with that in mind, and you know, take a really close look at those bags you buy at the checkout. With that in mind, these can be, you can have sewing mistakes, you can have all sorts of things going on and still have a product that you're going to be really fucking proud of. So we're going to come back, we're going to put this on the zigzag again. This one just requires me to adjust all kinds of stuff so it gets up to the end. And it's already sewn down. It's already been, the seam is already there. So you don't really need to, oh, I didn't adjust the other one. See? See how this is a wider zigzag and that's a narrower zigzag? You can do them like this for just for strictly stopping the fraying from happening. You can have them further apart. You're just sealing down all that. You're sealing down everything here so it doesn't fray. That's all you're doing. You do want to do something though, because if you don't, eventually it will fray all the way back to your stitch line, and then once that frays, you're gonna have to. It's a process to fix. And back it up, just because I can. Okay, now we're over here again. I'm gonna give you guys some vertigo again. I am going to adjust my camera because I can. Okay, so I am going to take this. I am going to box the corners now. That means I'm going to create a flat bottom. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get everything ready so I can sew that line right there. There's the outside edge. There's the bottom. I know it's hard to see. I should have picked a better. I always tell myself after I should have picked a better fabric, but. Yeah, so this is the boxing of the bottoms to make a flat bottom. Okay, so let me over-explain this one to death. So what you're gonna do, you want 2 inches, okay? So you're gonna put this 2-inch line on that inside line of stitching. That's where you're gonna measure from. If you measure from the outside, it's not gonna be the correct dimensions. Because don't forget, this part here is just now sitting in your seam allowance and does nothing for the bag anymore. So I'm going to do a 2-inch square, and I am going to, there's 2 different ways to do this. This is one of the ways. I will definitely be showing you the other way to box this, to box. If I could say it, I'll be definitely showing you another way to box a corner down the road. This is also, I just did that, and I didn't screw anything up, but I marked, my pen slipped. So again, get on this side. So your 2-inch line, that's not the 2-inch line, your 2-inch line goes 2 inches here, and the other 2-inch line goes right at the fold, right? So that's how you measure it. And I'm just marking it because I'm going to do the method where you mark it, then cut it, which is pretty simple. I'm also going to over-explain scissors for a minute. Okay, so what they say is they say cut, and then every time you see this on a video, you see them cutting because they've got really good scissors that cut all the way to that corner where if I want to cut to, I'm just going to hack things up. If I want to cut to that line right there, see that little line that I just made? If I want to cut to that line and I put my scissors there, well, look at that, I cut right to it. Because I've got really good scissors. Now, if you're working with not so fucking great scissors, okay, let's see if I can do it with these scissors. These scissors are really not great. So if you're trying to make not so great scissors work, do not line up the tip of your scissors with that. Bring it all the way to the back of the scissor and cut and cut. Take your time. And then when you get to here, just watch. You can see the line, right? So just cut slowly, take your time, a little bit at a time, until you get right onto that corner, and then you've bypassed the need. As long as your scissors cut the fabric, I am going to switch back over to my good scissors, but as long as you have doing it this way instead of this way, doing it from the back instead of the front will give you more control if your scissors aren't the best scissors, which is something I tend to do anyway. I don't know why I realized I don't know what happened, but yeah, I usually cut from the back like that because I've lived a life of shitty scissors. So this is a really good pair of scissors, but it doesn't change the fact that this is what I'm used to. Anyway, so trying to copy some of those sewing things that you see on the interwebs or on other channels or TV, whatever. Trying to copy some of these tricks, if you don't have the exact tools, can actually, because if you try to do this and it doesn't work out, you could end up chewing up that corner so that it's not going to line up properly. And again, you don't need to care right now. Right now, you don't need to care. Let's flip the camera around again. You don't really need to care right now, at least, because you're just making a grocery bag. So now you get to practice. You get to practice your sewing. You get to find out, what your shit does, what your equipment does. If you have a sewing machine and you're like, oh, I want to practice with my sewing machine, what do? Make a grocery bag. Okay, so you're just gonna, here's how I cut it, right? Here's how I cut it. So you're gonna grab that corner, and you're gonna pull them, and they're gonna automatically flatten out, and you're gonna take your time. It quite often does that. See how there's a little point sticking out? That's pretty normal. So you can fiddle with it, and you can fiddle and fart until it's perfectly lined up, and that's fine. Or you can just leave it, and that's fine too. So I'm just gonna throw this on the machine and get it started. So I'm just taking my time, fiddle fart a little bit, double check that these are where I want them. They're not, flip it over. Take your time. Take your time and pin. Okay, that one's lined up where I want it to be. So I'm going to do the same basically the seam that I'm doing, the straight stitch that I'm doing right now is about halfway between 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. Do whatever's comfortable for you. Go forward, back it up. This is the stitch that's going to hold it together. That's the stitch that's going to hold it together, so take your time. If you're not confident or if you're not sure, then you can make the stitch a little shorter. Don't forget, this is your bag, your machine, you made it. If I go to use this bag and this seam rips out, I can just take it home and fix it. So I'm going to just reinforce. This is where I had to cut this seam. So I'm just going to go over it, and I'm going to back up, and then I'm going to go forward again, just to reinforce that a little bit. Okay, now I have to remember to do this right. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over to my zigzag stitch, come back to the beginning. See, that's making a, my machine makes a, already does the back stitch thing. See, this isn't perfect, don't care. This is definitely a project where functional matters more than anything else in what you're doing. I'll give it a trim. And there will be some fraying. It's just that it's not going to be very bad and it's not going to go back very far. So it's going well, that sucks. My camera decided to turn itself off again. Fucking thing. Okay, I gotta stop yelling at the equipment. So I'm not sure where it cut off the first time. So I took that hole that I made. I pulled it out sideways from the little corner from the inside piece that happened. I'm sure that the camera picked that part up. So I've just opened it up and sewn it. And now I'm going to come back to the beginning, switch over to my zigzag stitch. And you can sew everything up and then come back and zigzag the whole thing as a second thing, right? Doodle 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 doodle. Don't forget, in order to reinforce when you're crisscrossing over this part, go forward, then back, then do a reinforcing stitch, which means you're just going to sew, then you're going to back up a little bit, then you're going to continue. That'll keep that corner from pulling out, because things usually do have an amazing tendency to pull themselves apart from corners and shit. Okay. Doop-de-doop. That's done. Okay, back over to here. Back to some more vertigo. Okay, this is dealer's choice. You can do this any way you want. Okay, right now, when I turn this over, I've got a bag. Look at that. It's already a bag. It's already a bag. There's my boxing. So if I did it in the camera, that would be even more helpful. There's the boxing right there. There's the other side of the bag right there. So it's going to sit, if I can get my camera at a good angle, it's going to sit like that. And it's about that high. Yeah, I got to figure out this camera angle shit. I really got to figure that out. Okay, no, we're going to stay this way. We're staying over this way. Okay. This is kind of dealer's choice. So what you need to do is, this works better for me if I do it while the bag is inside out. So I'm going to turn it back inside out again. Now you can measure this, or you can just have a little trust exercise, because this one here was done as a trust exercise. I folded everything in, and I didn't measure a damn thing. Okay, I didn't measure anything. This one's a little wider. This side's a little wider than that side. Don't care. It's a grocery bag. Okay, so if you don't want to screw around with that, then you can just trust yourself. And depending on how big if this is your chance. If you think this bag is way too tall, right? Now you have a finished bag to look at. You can cut if you need to, but if you decide that this bag is way too tall and you'd rather have it here, then just trim stuff. But what you do have to give space for is to come around, fold it. Okay, I'm folding it at about the 1/2 inch mark. By the way, can I just point out, I haven't stopped talking so to turn this on, but anyway, can I just point out that if you have fabric that's stained or not in the best of shape, that's okay, this fabric, a couple of areas of this fabric has stains on it. I don't care because I'm a slob. Okay, so just fold it at about the 1/2 inch mark, or you can measure it. If you're really concerned, you can measure this, okay? Yeah, look here, it's got a little stain right there. It's got a little stain right there. I actually got this at a thrift store like 2 years ago. It's been sitting in the back of the closet ever since, so I have no idea where that stain came from. But if you've got fabric that is like, oh, I really like the fabric, it's not perfect, right? Then use it as a grocery bag. So grocery bags are covered in fucking stains. So nobody's going to bat an eyelash. Okay, if you're giving it away as a gift, don't use stained fabric. So you fold it in approximately 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch to 1 inch. I think this is closer to 1 inch. Yeah, this is almost 1 inch. Okay, so you fold it down. Okay, give it a little like that, and then just take it, tuck it in, fold it again, and you're good to go. Now this I will clip. I will clip this because there's a few things that have to happen. So I'm just gonna come around. I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna go super close to the corner. There's a reason. So I'm gonna get that one clipped down. Okay. Doop-a-doop. I'm gonna flip it over. Don't worry, we're gonna be dealing with these ends, but this is just simpler. So we're gonna do this, and I don't have to do anything super special. So I'm just gonna fold that up. Oh, look at that! I can feel that this is almost the same width as that. So I know I did it more or less right. I'm just going to harp on about how this is the perfect project. If you know that you're going to make a few mistakes, oh, I keep making this one mistake, I just need more practice, blah, 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 this is the perfect project for you. Okay, so now that I've got this like this, and I'm just going to make sure these clips are on really well, because I can. Then I'm going to turn this sideways. Okay, there's a reason. There's two reasons. Okay, I'm going to go sideways. So now I can grab this end, right? I can grab this side piece. This has got a lot of shit going on, so I can grab the side piece and clip that down, flip it over. Don't put a lot of muscle into manhandling it. Not that it matters, but you can end up, these clips pull right off if you pull hard enough. So if you are using clips, don't get too invested in manhandling your fabric, because you just yank the. What's going on here? Oh, okay, I'll go do that. Sometimes at the corners they get a little stiff, and that's normal, so that's fine. I'm even going to show you, if you're looking at this going, oh, my machine's too light duty to go over these seams, I've got a trick, and I will try to remember to show it to you. Okay, now what you're going to do, you're going to do. Are you seeing how, I don't think you're seeing this. Anyway, you're going to take and you're going to line up that seam on this side start at the thread line. Well, you're going to line up the seam. You can see the seams. You're going to line up these two seams-ish. They don't need to be perfect, but you're going to line them up, okay? Now, you need to add your handles, okay? Now, your handles are basically going to fold like this, right? Which is fine. Which way do I have to do these again? Yeah, your handles are basically going to fold in half. And one's going to go here and one's going to go here. They do need to be fairly even, so you're going to have to deal with that. So you're going to get a ruler. You're going to get a ruler, a piece of string, something. So you are going to measure back approximately 4 inches from that line right there. You're going to come back about 4 inches. It doesn't look like much, but when you unfold it, right? And you're going to put one. Oh, look, that clip's right there already. I'm going to move that down a bit. You're going to put one. You're going to line up the center of this with the bottom of that fold at the 4-inch line, and you can mark it. Okay, I'm used to this, and I need to do this for people who aren't used to this. If you are not used to this, then you are going to line your ruler up, and you are going to make a line, okay? And then this is going to go approximately, and you can just fold it in half to get your approximate halfway. And you're just going to line it up to the bottom of that fold that you just made. And then you're going to come in. You can clip it from any side that you want, but you're going to just clip it really well, okay? And then this one here, you've already got it folded in half, and you already know approximately where your 4-inch line is. So you are going to go on this side of it. Well, that lines up, okay. So then you're just going to find the bottom of the. Oh, this came out of space. This came out of its spot. Don't worry. We're actually almost done, so don't worry. Little delays, and like I said, this is the perfect. Have I said this 37 times yet? This is the perfect project if you don't have. If you're in a hurry and would like to get some fabric. If you want to get some fabric used up, this is a perfect project. So just go approximately there. It doesn't matter where this is. Line that up to the bottom of where you sewed it. Clip it in place. Now, if it needs to be shifted a little bit, that's fine. Because that one's going to need to be shifted as I'm sewing it. No big deal. No big deal. I'll show you how that works. Okay. Around on. Peel your thing up off the table. Get a 4-inch line. Figure out where your 4 inches is. It does not have to be perfect. It's just a grocery bag. Okay. That one goes there. That one goes there. Oh, I'm just going to move that clip right there. And you can clip, you can pin. There's even like fabric adhesives and all sorts of stuff. And then you're just going to fold it and line it up at the outside. So these are going in on the wrong side of the fabric, right? So then you're going to bring this around, and you're just going to double check and make sure the fold is staying where you want it. It just was shifted a bit too, but it's okay. And then approximately where is that going? Why, it's going right there. We're good. I'm just holding it together with my fingertips. Get it in there. And clip that down. Now, We're almost done, kids. We're almost done. We're almost done. This is awesome. Okay. Now, if most machines, that comes off. So if you are concerned that you are not going to have enough room to move comfortably, take this off. I'm not concerned. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take it off just to show you what it looks like. You know what I mean? I do this shit all the time. Trust me, kids, I'm a professional. Okay, so just load your bag. Put the bottom under there. I did it with my arm in the way. Let's do this with my arm not in the way. So just shove everything under there. Underneath, there's enough space, right? And then line up everything on the top. Okay. Do that. Now we are going to go back to the straight stitch. And we are going to line up. As you take your clip off, hold it in place with your fingertips and don't let go. You can take the clips off whenever you need to, just don't let go. Okay. So now I'm going to be going for a stitch that goes within I'm hoping for an 1/8 of an inch. It'll probably be closer to a 1/4 because it's just a grocery bag and I don't have to care. So I'm going to start here. I am not going to back stitch. So just there you go. There's where I want it. Okay, so just double check where you're going to put everything down and make sure that you're lining everything up with your foot. Okay. I'm going to go over top of this handle, okay? And just when I get to the end, you can do it before the end, but your machine might decide that it wants to play games with you. Back stitch. Whoop. I took my finger off the button and I shouldn't have. Back stitch all the way across and then all the way across again. Now I've got 3 layers of stitching holding that in from the top, okay? Now, and don't forget, this is folded all the way up, so when I sew this down, it's going to hold this in place too. Go around. If your machine wanders a bit, you don't have to care, because it's not that kind of... As you're pulling your stuff through from the bottom, pull carefully. Don't just yank on things. Again, if you catch these clips, they will pull off, which is the only thing that you need to worry about. And if you're concerned, like I said, just go slower and you'll be fine. Okay. Just because you can go fast doesn't mean you have to stitch as fast as you possibly can. And we're coming up on this one again. Over top of everything. 1 layer of stitching. 2 layers of stitching, 3 layers of stitching. So I've got a really heavy reinforced stitch through there. Because if you don't stitch your handles on well enough, then as soon as there's enough weight in your bag, the handles will rip off. So yeah, you just don't want to screw around with that. Da 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 da. Whoa! Did you see that? Okay, my clip stuck. My clip got wedged here, so the feed dogs weren't able to pull everything forward. It's not the end of the world. Take the clip off. You're good to go. Now, you should be able to just go right over. If your machine will not go over this kind of bulk, I'm going to cut this and back up. Oops. Cut it. Because like I said, if I fuck something up, I don't have to care. So if your machine does not want to go over this kind of bulk, then what you're going to do is you're going to come up to it. Okay, and when you feel your machine struggling, you'll usually hear a noise like thunk, thunk, thunk. Then you just lift your thread up, lift your needle up, and that might be with the button or what's on the end. Bring your needle back down, make a couple of stitches, lift your needle up, back up, do it again, lift your needle up, go back, right? Does this make sense? So you're going to have a big gap in your stitching to get over that bump, but if you back up and do it 2-3 times, you'll have just as strong of a stitch. I don't recommend that for every project, but for a project like this where you're just sewing this down. It's how this is sewn at this corner isn't going to affect the quality or stability of the bag. Yeah, the clip is catching again. Okay. So we're just going to go straight in. If you don't want your clips to catch, just lift your fabric a little bit. It's not the end of the world. Okay. This one here kind of shifted. No big deal. Just double check. I just kind of double checked exactly where that was lined up first. Okay, over, back again, forward again. There, 3 layers, we're done, we can go. Okay. Doop 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 doop. Yeah, a lot of the time I will just trust myself to not need clips, so I'm constantly, when I do use clips, I'm catching them all the time. It's kind of sad. I'm supposed to know what I'm doing, right? Okay. 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer. And if things shift a little bit, you don't care. It's just a grocery bag. It shifted a little bit, so I got 1 line, then I went forward, then I went back, it went at an angle a bit, and then I brought it back in. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But again, if you feel like you're, yeah, this one's really heavy and obvious to me. I don't know if you guys can see how obvious it is, but this is a heavy duty machine, so it shouldn't have problems with this sort of thing. But if it is if your machine does have problems with too much thickness, you can't sew your entire project like that, but you can do a basic project. If your basic project only has a couple of questionable spots, then you can get through a lot of stuff by doing that trick. Okay. Back to where I started. So now I'm just gonna carefully line up and make sure I'm answering the phone. Oh, the wife just called. That's okay. That's okay. I love her and shit, you know. Okay, so I overlapped where I was originally doing it. You don't need to backstitch. No, you have to wait. Bruno is now desperate to go outside. Okay, so now this is really obvious. This is really simple. I've got this and I've got that. And so I'm going to start just before it. Bruno, you have to wait, buddy. I'm going to start just before it. Don't forget, these are all open. These are open, so you do not want to sew exactly along the line. So put about 1/4 inch. About 1/4 inch. So line your foot up so that you're about 1/4 inch, so that you'll have a thing like that. Go over it. And do the same reinforcing for the handle, because then if one side, if the top starts to come loose, the bottom will take over, right? You don't need to do anything special for this. Just go, 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 go. Okay, you're at the strap, back and forth. Okay. Yeah, every time the dogs hear the phone ring, they start bugging me, because it's like, hey, the outside world exists. Let's see what's going on. Okay, bring it over there. Yeah, see that tried to catch a little bit, right? But because the needle could punch down, I didn't have to, because the needle was able to punch down, I just had to like give a little tiny bit of extra pressure, and it went through. Okay, that one there is a little funky. That's okay. Oh, because I'm pulling it. There's a little pressure here. Okay, over, back, and over again. Do. So yeah, once you get the top section on, this is just finishing it up. If something's a little bit off, you don't care. It's just a grocery bag. Trust me, you don't care. Because I'm putting this on. This is a little bit wider than I would normally do, but I want to do it quickly. I don't want to have to mess around. It's a grocery bag. I don't want to have to. I want to get on to the next one. I want to do a set of these. With a little bit of luck, I've got enough of this particular fabric to do 3 or 4 heavy bags, and then I'll do 3 or 4 light bags. Okay, now. Let's get over here. Let's get out of my cleavage. Let's get over here. Let's flip this guy. Okay. Now I'm really confident because I already did one of these. So let's take my hand out of that. And here we go. So a nice box bottom on both sides. There is open seams, but they're zigzagged down so they won't fray everywhere, so you're not going to have a big mess on the inside. And now you have a full-size short handle. Handle length matters. If the length of the handle matters to you, my wife and I just had a discussion about this. If the length of the handle matters to you, then take your favorite bag, measure the handles, add 2 inches, add an inch, sorry, add an inch. No 2 inches, because you want to go, you need to go over, you need to sew them down, right? So take your favorite bag, measure the handles, add 2 inches so that you can attach it to your bag, and that is the size of handle that you want. So this is an 18-inch hand. This is an 18-inch handle that when it's put on turns into a 16-inch handle after attaching it. So that's that. That is the bag, guys. And I'm going to go meet the wife because I think we have to go grocery shopping. Anyway, you guys know the deal. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things, hit the notifications so you can find out when the next video is coming out. And don't forget, I'm trying to take over the world one subscription at a time. We need your help for that. In the meantime, yeah, like, comment. I said all the things. I'm getting confused already. I'm excited because now I get to go use these things. Okay. You guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.